All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our artificial intelligence course, and we're still doing our optimization module. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. Now, last night, if you recall, we were going over constraint satisfaction problems, and we're just going to build off of that tonight. So, what then actually is a constraint satisfaction problem? Well, a constraint satisfaction problem is just some set of variables, x1 all the way through xn, and some set of domains for each of those variables. So, every variable needs to take on some values. Maybe every variable has the same domain, but maybe every variable has a slightly different domain. And then there's a set of constraints we'll just call a set C. This is some constraints that are placed upon these variables, like x1 is not equal to x2. But there could be other forms too, like maybe x1 equals x2 plus 1 if these variables are taking on numerical values in their domain, for example. The types of constraints are going to vary based on the types of problems. And constraint satisfaction shows up all over the place as well, in any situation where we have variables that are subject to particular constraints. Now, this is just a constraint satisfaction problem and a breakdown of it without all the extra wording. Let's move on. Now, so one popular game is Sudoku, for example. This 9 by 9 grid where we need to fill in numbers in each of these cells, but we want to make sure that there is never a duplicate number in any row or in any column or in any grid of 3 by 3 cells, for example. Now, this is my Sudoku game grid. I tried to draw it as best as I could using VSC code. But yeah, this is our 3 by 3 grid here, and you can see we have three of them. One, two, three. One, two, three. So there's nine of them. 9, 18, 27 altogether for our entire grid. Like I said, I did the best I could using VSC code. So what might this look like as a constraint satisfaction problem? Well, my variables are all of the empty squares in the puzzle. Variables 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, etc., etc. These variables correspond to empty square locations on our grid. So just for one example, a 0, 2 location here is going to be our first location. Let me go up a little bit so I can show you. So 0 would be our first line, and 2 would be this location here. So that would be 0, 1, 2. So that's a 0 row, column 2. And that's all that's saying. So every one of those corresponds to an empty location on our grid. And that's what we basically did tonight. We just went over different constraints and problems and more definitions. Yeah, so yeah, we're pretty much moving forward, full speed ahead. Like I said, things are going pretty smoothly, and I'll keep you posted every step of the way. But yeah, this is the Python Poppy. You guys stay Gucci.